Hi guys, and welcome to part C of this three-part video series for Typography Assessment 3. In this video we will be taking a look at the supplied InDesign template. The first thing I want to point out is that once you download this file, the folder and all the resources, you will notice that there are two different files for this InDesign template. The first one is an INDD file and the other is an IDML file. I just want to point out that they're exactly the same file. The only difference is the IDML file will enable you to open up the file in older versions of InDesign. So if you cannot open the INDD file extension for whatever reason, please try opening the one with the extension that has .idml, and you should have no problems opening and using that file. Okay, the second point that I want to take note of is the links. So if you haven't got your links up here on the right hand side, just go to Window, just click there, go to Window and go to Links, and you'll find it there. Click on the links and make sure you don't have any signifier here that's warning you that the links could be missing or are missing. It'll be an exclamation mark or a question mark stating that the link is missing. So the good thing is I don't have any warning sign there saying that these links are missing, so that means they're present. And the only link that is present is the Powerhouse Museum logo, which you can see in the top right hand and left hand corners of the pages. So that's good. That means that we're right to go and that it will print correctly. Okay, so the next point is that I want to take a look at is the layers. So again, if you don't have your layers up on the right hand side, go to Window and you should be able to find your layers down there. Now this InDesign file has been set up with three different layers. We have a text layer, an images layer, and a grid layer. So I'm just going to show you what's on each of those layers by turning the visibility off, what's called toggling the visibility. So if I turn off the text layer visibility, you'll see that most of the text disappears. If I turn off the images layer, you will note that most of or all of the boxes disappear. So hypothetically, that's where the images could go in this layer. And then the last one is the grid, which is also locked, which if I turn that off and on, you will note that things that are consistent that should not change on that particular layer. What I do want to point out to you though is that if I turn that off and on, you'll also see that the main heading, which reads article heading, goes here. I'll just zoom in on that right now for you. It also disappears. Now that is an error, so we need to fix that, and I'm going to show you how to do so now. So in order to place this article heading goes here on the text layer where it should be, we need to firstly unlock that grid layer, click on that text that we want using our selection tool, and go Edit and go Cut. Now Cut will remove it but also copy that particular object. Then I'm just going to lock the grid layer and the images layer, click on the text layer where we want it to go, and then go to Edit, Paste in Place. It's important to choose Paste in Place so it goes in exactly the same position. If we just hit Paste, it would be pasted in the middle of our document, which is no good to us. So now that is in the correct spot. Okay, so that means now when I turn off the text layer, the heading also disappears as well, which is what we want. Okay, the next point I want to show you is how to view our guides, because as it stands we cannot see any guidelines on this document. In order to view our guides, we need to go to View, go down to Grids and Guides, and choose Show Guides. And now we can clearly see, I'll just zoom in as well so you can see this, there is a modular grid that has been applied to this document. Now we're expected to work within this grid. You can change the layout and it is encouraged to change the layout from the way that it's been organized here. You can change where the images go. It's really up to you and what you think suits. But what should not change is the folio down the bottom here, and the logo should always be consistent. And you should work within this particular layout. So consider your margin area, this pink line around here, and if you have an image which is fully bled, like this image here, this grey box, it should go all the way to what's known as the bleed line, which is this. I'll just move that aside, which is that red line there. That's where images that go beyond or right to the very edge of the page should bleed all the way off. Okay, so that's how you view your the modular grid that's been supplied. Okay, so the next point I want to point out to you is how to import the text. Now there is a video that has been supplied, a Linda video, which shows you how to do this, but I'll just quickly show you now. If you go File, Place, navigate of course to where you have saved your resources that you've downloaded. So I'll just quickly go here, and you'll see there is a file here which is move that across, a .docx file. So this is the text file, Assessment3 article. Click Open. Give it a second to load. Okay, and it has, in this particular instance, I've accidentally placed it within that box because I still had it highlighted. So I'm going to Command Z that, and what I really want to do is place it over here like so. Okay, and what you can clearly see here is it actually says to you that it says above what is the heading, what is the subheading, what is the body copy, and then you can choose your own pull quote, etc. So it's pretty clear. Obviously you don't need to copy over into your article the word heading, the word subheading, or the word body copy, so leave those parts out, but it clearly signifies what is what. So when you need to bring over something, for example the heading, you can copy, select it, Command C, or if you prefer edit, you can go to edit and choose copy if you prefer that, and then you can go over to this document. Obviously this is where our heading would go. Click 3 times and go Command V or edit and paste, and then you will need to of course format that particular text at a suitable size and choose a suitable typeface for the heading. Okay, so you do that for all the different components, and the videos that I've supplied will help you work out how to navigate and use Adobe InDesign to fulfill the requirements of this task. So just a really quick idea of how to bring in the images. Here we have a box which is where I could bring in, I'll just delete that box. Imagine there was no box there at all. You need to make sure you're on the correct layer. Well, you should make sure you're on the correct layer, which is the images layer. So I'm going to draw over here a picture box. It fully bleeds off the edge of the pages, so I go to my red bleed line, and then I can go to File, Place, and I can choose under links, under supplied photos. That's where the supplied photos are. I'm just going to randomly pick whatever picture here for the sake of this. I'll choose that one, click Open, and give it a second, and then the image pops up, and then we just need to resize that image within that text frame, within that picture frame, we resize that image so that it goes into the position that we want, making sure that it extends to our bleed line. So I'll just hit W on the keyboard so you can see how that's taken place. So you can bring the images in, move it around, change the layout a little bit, but abide to the guidelines that have been given you. Make sure you allow for a margin area around the outside, and have consistent size column widths throughout. as we've discussed before. Now the last point that I want to show you, obviously you'd need to finish all of this layout, bring in all the text, make sure you're happy with the editorial design, and when you're ready to export it, you go to File, choose Export. Now this is going to be a print file, so make sure you choose the format PDF for print. Put your name or initials at the beginning. I prefer if you could put your full name, so I'll do that myself here at the beginning of that file, and it's going to save it as a .pdf file, which is what we want. Make sure you save it where you want the file to go, then click Save. And you want to make sure that you're exporting all pages. You can choose View PDF after exporting, and in the marks and bleeds option, I recommend that you choose crop marks, registration marks, color bars, page information. If you're not sure what all that information means, it will be explained to you later on in the course. And also make sure you click here, bleed and slug, make sure you check the use document bleed settings, and that will note the 3mm bleed that's been applied to this document. I'll just quickly hit export and show you what it will do. It should in just a moment generate the file, because I asked it to show the file after it had exported. Any second now. Still. Oh, there it is. Sorry, it's behind it. So you can see here I've got my trim marks, I've got my bleed, and each page has been exported. So it's a 4-page single PDF file which I can upload to the server as my submission. You can do that, or you could also export it as spreads, which means that you would have 2 pages showing at once. So all up it would be a 2-page PDF file. So you can either do it as single pages, or you can export it as spreads for me. So I don't mind, either way will do. So that brings us to the end of this 3-part video series for Assessment 3. I hope you enjoy this task. It is a challenging task, especially if you're new to InDesign and you haven't used it much before, but I'm sure you will learn a lot. Please refer back to these videos that I've supplied and just work your way through it as best you can. Thanks for watching.